It is 7 p.m. I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's April 10th, 2025. Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Roll call. Gonzalez. Here. Mason. Here. Flores.
Here.
Pelletier. Here. Puzo. Here. Hussein.
Here.
Jost. Here. All right. Meeting's all here. Public comments, agenda items only. Wait, you're almost not public, Kim.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, is there anything anyone would like to pull off of the consent agenda? I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
I hate to ask Pat, do you have an extra packet?
I will get one.
Do you want me to look over the shoulder?
Yeah,
I can do this. Pat, it's okay. I'm sharing.
Yeah, what do you need?
The packet didn't download on its device, so.
Oh, she's coming.
Do you get one?
It's in here. They were just gonna sharing.
Does anyone else need
No
one?
packet, not packet.
Oh,
I got-
packet,
No,
okay, I'm
it's
sorry,
okay, we're
here.
sharing.
No. Are you sure? Because you
Yeah.
can use mine.
Yeah.
Because I usually just end up shorting mine.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we can vote.
Okay.
So
Take
we'll
some
vote
pen.
on the
Sorry.
consent agenda. Mason,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Pelletier, yes, Puzo,
Yes.
Hussein,
Yes.
Jost,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Thank you. Great. And on that is your vacation, and I know you have a lot going on, and please try not to check your email and phone too long.
I've always done everything done before that. It's already been scheduled, and so I'm like, I would really like to keep it, but yeah, it's great.
I hope you get to relax a little bit.
It's been crazy.
Yeah. One of those times you have to earn that vacation.
That's what I told my husband. I'm like, I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so President's report. First, a big congrats to Mohammed and Kim on your re-election and new election. Very exciting. We will also revisit our new trustee kind of timeline as well too, because we'll have some continued movement. Another reminder to file your statement of economic interest if you have not done so already. The deadline is May 1st. Okay, so committee reports, finance we covered under the consent agenda. Facilities, we have some stuff to talk about a little bit later. And I saw at the policy meeting, you'll be meeting before the May.
It's between my schedule,
Okay.
manager's schedules, and not getting
Yes.
a chance to review the policies, and some of them they want the department managers to look at, and then spring break, and so I know different people are out of town, so it just, the time just got away. So my
Yes.
apologies for that, but we'll definitely get that done before May.
Okay. The facilities, I just want to, not only do we have some bathroom updates, also the concrete on the north side of the building, that seems like a continued thing.
Yeah, so, I mean, I can talk briefly about that now if you want me to.
Yeah, and we'll move right into staff reports too,
Okay.
so we can
Okay.
touch on that as well too.
So under my direct report, I will start with the concrete repair. We determined that we actually do own that, because there was, Ed and I had some discussions about whether or not the village actually owned that, but I determined that I'm pretty sure we do. I was checking the plats survey and everything, so we do. So we have to take care of it. And what seems to be happening, especially at one of there's two manholes on that, like where the park, like there's one that's closer to where the garbage cans are, or the garbage dumpsters are,
Yes.
and then there's one a little bit further south. And then, but they appear to be sinking. So, and there's lots of, they're big holes, basically, big potholes, and so it's been problematic, especially because that's right where the handicap parking is and stuff, so it's not ideal. So we're getting some quotes to repair that. In conjunction with that, so we first started out with getting quotes to repair just the one that was the worst, but then someone came by and they gave us quotes for both, and then we also are gonna get quotes to reseal or seal coat and restripe the parking spaces directly to the north of the library. So the concrete, we hope to get done ASAP because we figure that's a safety issue, so we'd like to get that done certainly before summer reading. We want to get it done ASAP, or get it started because we want it done before summer reading. The seal coating and the restriping of the spaces in the back, we probably would not do until at least August, if not later, because assuming that we move forward with the bathroom renovation, if tariffs haven't made everything, priced everything out of our price range, which we don't know yet. I assume there will be a dumpster associated with demolition of the bathroom, so I don't want to park a dumpster on top of a newly seal coated and striped space. So we'll take care of the concrete repairs ASAP. Seal coating will be pushed off till probably fall at this point, but we are looking at that. So.
But we're not repaving that whole west east.
No, we're just focused on
the end part.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's a concrete repair and yeah. So right now, to repave that whole thing in concrete, if that's what we decided to do, would be pretty pricey.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, we just right now want to take care of what we consider the safety issues, and we'll continue to look at what we can do going forward. I mean, we've had some discussions. I don't know virtually anything about concrete, so so I don't know if we would be able to pave over that, with this, you know what I mean, so that it would be cheaper upkeep going forward, but I don't know, we'll see. We'll have to look into that. But we definitely want to get the potholes fixed, and that really seems to be the worst of it.
Well, that's coming up by the garbage cans, that's an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
yeah.
a fall.
Mhm, right,
Yeah,
exactly,
not-
yeah, especially like I said, because those are where some of the handicap spaces
Mhm,
are, so, yeah. And it seems like all of a sudden not all of a sudden, but after this winter, they seem dramatically worse than last year, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can we blame it on the village because that's where they put the snow?
Well, there was some concern about that, and so Ed and I have had some conversations about that, but it's fine, so it'll be fine. The concern was that just the plow in general, right, it just tears up the
Yeah,
road.
yeah.
I mean, we know how that
That's
is,
what
right?
happens.
Yeah, exactly,
But we don't wanna lose them plowing.
yeah, exactly,
They're
yeah, so, I have a couple other things to add to my report, if that's okay. Passport acceptance continues to go really well. I think I copied the board on how much money we've made in the first quarter.
Yeah.
So almost $45,000. So that will be good, and it'll be nice to put that towards additional services and programs and collections, that kind of thing. But we actually also had our very first, which was soon, Passport Services Office of Acceptance Facility audit. So they come, so the Department of State people come out and they meet with a couple of the acceptance agents. They go over a whole process. They met with them for 2 hours, and they go over where we've got everything locked up and, if we're following all the rules. And so the summary, we got the report that it said, blah, blah. It said, basically, it was all the stuff, but it said, considering this is the first compliance inspection for the facility, they did quite well. So the only thing that they said that we needed to address was let's see, what did they say? And this is a very specific instance. It says, based on the interview and observations, AFO found that agents are proficient in most acceptance procedure, however, identified one area corrective action that needed immediate attention. This area includes knowledge of requirements concerning potentially suspicious or fraudulent hand carry application procedures.
Oh, wow.
So basically it was what you need to do if someone has done all the paperwork but they don't want to file it and they wanted to take it with them because they were going to go to a different facility, and I'm pretty sure this was it, but they are not allowed to do that. And so We didn't let them do that, but what you're supposed to do is take it from the person and you have to destroy it. You can't, so even if someone's gone through all the paperwork and they need to leave and they can't finish it, we have to destroy it. So there was just some clarification around that. But
Is that paperwork that was given here or paperwork that they brought with them?
either
to
one,
turn
but
in?
once we go through the
Interesting.
process where the
Once you
facility
start it,
agent
you're checking
starts and once, it all has to stay
Okay.
here. I mean, there's a lot of rules around how you handle that, like we have to keep things locked up and we had to, that kind of thing. So they're pretty specific about that.
Wow.
But other than that, they said everything else went really well and they were pretty impressed with the agents and that, especially because we had been doing it for such a relatively short time, so.
How often do they usually come in? Or is it just?
They just let you know. So
Oh, okay.
apparently
For
we were
cooking?
like, yeah, exactly, that was it. So there was a
Right.
list of like 5 or 6 other facilities kind of in the general area. And yeah, we were a little surprised because it seemed soon because we know of other, facilities or acceptance facilities that they haven't been audited yet and it's been a couple of years, so
Wow.
who knows?
Okay.
So, yeah, but we did well, so.
Okay,
Good
Yeah.
job.
great.
So anyway, I just wanted to let the board know that continues to be a real success for us.
Just out of curiosity, how many people are from Morton Grove and how many are outsiders?
We don't track it,
Oh,
so, yeah.
Because at the very beginning, I remember there was like an influx from outside of Morton
Mhm.
Grove.
It's a fair number from Morton
Yeah.
Grove.
Oh.
Like I said, we don't track the who's from Morton Grove and who's from outside of Morton Grove, because we're charging them all the same.
Yeah.
But there is a fair number because, frequently, someone will have to run home to get something and I'll hear different things because they do it all in here. So if I'm, sitting at my desk and stuff like that. But, like they come in with the family and so the mom stays here and finishes doing whatever while Dave runs home to get what he needs and that kind of thing. So there is a fair number, but, if that's something the board wants us to do, we
No,
can
no,
certainly
I
do
just,
that
I
going
thought
forward.
if you
but-
happened to know, I was curious.
I don't think Jeff is here right now, but I can ask him if he has a general sense of the breakdown, because he's so closely involved.
People are
with
coming
it.
from far and wide to Morton Grove to get their passport done.
Seems like they are.
I mean,
Word is
they-
out.
Yeah, the word is
So
out,
they're
so,
expecting
yes.
us. Everybody wants.
I hear nothing but positive comments from people that do bother to let me know, or that, that they'll let people know, they'll come in and they'll say something to someone at circulation or whatever about how much nicer it was to be able to do that here than to go somewhere else, So there's that. So that was good news. And less good news, if you, in my report, I mentioned that staff continue to be concerned about IMLS grant funding being cut. And just today's ILA newsletter, ILA and I printed out a couple other library organizations in the state. I didn't print out the whole thing. Put out a joint statement, and then here we go. ILA has released a joint statement with the Association of Illinois School Library Educators, the Consortium of Academic and Research Libraries in Illinois, the Illinois Heartland Library System, that's the library system down south, and RAILS, Reaching Across the Illinois Library System, regarding the recent changes at the Institute of Museum and Library Services. And then at the bottom of the little blurb from ILA, we were just informed that CARLI, that is the Consortium of Academic and Research Libraries in Illinois, received a termination notice last night canceling its IMLS 2024 planning grant on consortial collaboration for academic library leadership. And then they also had gotten word that the Illinois Fire Service Institute, which is also covered under IMLS grants, also received notice that the grant, Libraries as Partners for Emergency Preparedness and Response in Time of Crisis, in which CARLI was a partner organization as well, is terminated. So we are starting to see, it's concerning because there was reassurance that the 2024 grant monies would continue to be received, but clearly that is not the case any longer. So again, as I've mentioned, this doesn't initially affect funding for us. We don't get, the Age Option Grant was the only real federally funded grant that we got, and that wasn't, in terms of our overall budget, it wasn't a ton, but it really went towards some other programming that people really enjoyed. But, the idea is how will that trickle down and then eventually affect rails and delivery service and those kinds of things that we rely on from them, and what does that mean for not only us, but for libraries going forward. So we're fortunate in Illinois that we live in a state that has a history of strong library support just in general. And right now we have a really supportive Secretary of State, and so that makes a difference too, because he really feels strongly about this. But it is something that the staff is concerned about, and it, you know, everything going on is affecting staff morale a little bit. So it's hard, yeah. It's hard to feel attacked
Of course.
like that, but, you know, just in general, I mean, you know, the libraries aren't the only organizations and stuff, but like I said, we are starting to see some of that. Again, it hasn't touched us yet, but it could. So, not nearly as positive news with that. So those are the only things that I wanted to add, unless anyone had any specific questions about my report or any of the other staff reports.
I have a question.
Mhm.
On the, what is it, the ARCH payments that we're doing, ARC payments?
The ACH?
Okay.
Mhm.
It's not on the financial report, and I know I did two checks, I didn't do two
Mhm.
checks, I signed 2 things for that.
Mhm.
Maybe they're not, they'll be on next month, I don't know.
Right,
But
because
it's
the ones that
going-
you just did were in April, so they'll show up in
They'll show
financial.
up, but they will show up on the financial, you know, because we have the checks that we see, but how are we gonna do that? Is it just gonna be,
It shows up in our, it
payments?
shows up in our journal entries. I mean, it's in all of our accounting and that
Uh-huh.
kind of thing. I'll have to check with Sigich to see how that will show up
I
in
mean, because
the report.
if it gets bigger and we're
Right.
gonna do like win and things like that, that's a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
money.
Yep,
So we've got to account for that
Yep.
on this sheet to the board.
right.
That's what I'm trying to say,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, what we can do, I'll have to talk to Bridget about that. Yeah, let me talk to her.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how
Nope.
you're gonna report it.
Yep. Yeah, that's good feedback, because we're working on establishing that process, and so
Right,
that's one,
to
you
get
know,
more
as
and
we
more
try
and
to,
more,
right.
so far, yeah.
And really, they've been pushing, a lot of our vendors are pushing for
For
this.
ACH.
Yeah, for
it's a lot
ACH
more
payments,
secure,
because
it's
it's
a lot-
way more secure.
Yeah, and it's a lot
timely,
cheaper too.
It's cheaper.
You don't have to mail the check, you don't have to buy
But
checks.
we
That's-
also don't have to rely on the post office, which has not always been the most reliable, and could it get less reliable as you know, I mean, there is talk about trying to dismantle the post office, and there has been for a number of years, but that may be more successful under
No, I
this
mean, if you
administration
could
than
increase it.
in past ones. But, yeah, so it will increase, but I will touch base with them, and then we'll talk with Bridget
Whether
about
it's a
how we
separate
can.
report,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
checks,
Might
and
have to be
the
separate.
ACH
Yep.
report or something like that, okay,
Yep.
that's all I wanna know.
Yep.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
No, that's perfect, because like I said, that is something that we were so concerned about tracking it and making it visible for the treasurer and for signing and that kind of thing, that we weren't really, you know, like I said, but we haven't gotten that far, so we'll see reporting forward, yep. Okay.
Question. So, where are we here? Stretch this
Maybe?
So, I mean, I think, I know I've been thinking of the staff with the news of, so if there's, you know, anything that we can, know that we're, you know, we're supporting them, and so,
I know.
you
Yeah.
know.
I think it's one of those things that it's also difficult, because I think, right, and not, why would you necessarily know how
Yeah.
libraries work and how we get the funding and those kinds of things, and it's just really, yeah.
And I just also wanted to just shout out to Jeff and Sean and the Access Services staff for doing such an awesome job with the passport
Mhm.
services. It's obviously something that our patrons are appreciating, so.
Well, you know, and as we don't talk about it quite the same way any longer, but I mean, it still is as important as ever, particularly as we go into a time of maybe less support for libraries overall, but it's certainly an important way for us to stay relevant to our community, as we look at ways that the changing ways that people use our building and our services and those kinds of things, so.
Well, it always had to be an institution that is always evolving and
Right.
changing. I mean, we can't just offer
Right.
books and that's it, you
Right.
know, so, yeah, so. All right, so we are going to move down to unfinished business, so the bathroom renovation.
We haven't, but I think Tiffany and Jen were anticipating that they would have more detailed information about, you know, potential costs, that kind of thing, but I haven't met with them yet. So I know Tiffany was on vacation in Barcelona with her son.
Well, good for
I think her
her.
son
That's
is doing a semester there or something like that. So
That's great.
I said, well, can we meet this time? She goes, I'm gonna be in Barcelona. I said, all right, so I haven't met with them yet,
That's
so.
great. Yeah. Okay.
But I did pick out, I don't know if I mentioned it in my report or not, but I did meet with them and I picked out some finishes and those kinds of things, so that should give them some more information, so I imagine. Certainly by May, we should have information from them for about potential costs, and then we would move forward with the SMC for the bid process and that kind of thing after that.
Great. All right, so under new business, new trustee timeline, so, Pam again included, kind of a layout of with the timeline going forward, so, election day has passed, we have not received the certified election results from the county, so, new and re-elected, trustees will be sworn in May, which is also when, Carlotta's term officially expires. We will miss you. Have we mentioned that? Yeah. Okay.
We're only letting you think you can leave. I said, we're only letting you think you can leave.
And then, so something that we can talk about, we also have Lyman resigning, so we have, we'll have another seat that will need to be appointed at this point. So, and as Pam, explained, something we can consider is to reach out to one, or any of the candidates that did file and see if they would be interested in filling the open position. So in the past, what we would do is kind of put out communication, there's an open seat, fill out an application, and we don't have to Lyman can resign when it's good for you too, but we'll miss you too, we know, you hope you know that too, but, so, thoughts on if we want to reach out to one of the candidates that has put in their papers, that was on the ballot.
Sure, why not? They put out the effort to get on the ballot.
Is it fair to see their, like, agenda or anything like that? Is there any?
Well, they don't really, I mean.
I'm like, well, I
So if you wanted to go to the route of, name and here's my belief on libraries and this and that would be the application process.
Yeah, alright.
So,
We could, should the board choose to reach out to one and or both of the candidates that ran in addition to Kim and Mohammed, we could ask them to fill out the candidacy application that we do when we open it up, if you wanted to go that route too, as Mark said, as a way to maybe get a little bit more information.
That's it.
Like I know that I had met with Mr. Cook a couple of times, so I kind of have an idea about what he's thinking.
yeah.
The other person I have not met, but I mean, that would be an option as well. It doesn't have to be 100% one way and 100% the other. You could have them fill out that candidacy sheet if you wanted to do that as well.
Yeah.
But there is nothing in statute that says you have to go through that process.
Right.
It just says the board appoints, so however the board chooses to appoint to fill a vacancy, it would be up to the board.
And, yeah, so that's something that, any other thoughts? I was gonna keep going with it. We can think on it, we don't have to necessarily decide exactly what we wanna do tonight. But the fact that we almost never have, a contested library board election, which is actually good to see, but two, because we already had two people who were interested enough in sitting on the library board, and they did go through the trouble of getting their name on the ballot, that could be an option that we might wanna consider.
Can I just say, I'd like to make a comment, Jerry, I should have made it at the beginning of the meeting, but I'll make it at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Public
Yeah.
comments.
So, right now we're looking at, and Lyman, you can chime in on this point, whether you wanna thinking of resigning in May or June. That's kind of like the tentative timeline. Doesn't-
I was thinking May, but.
Okay. But I mean, And we, okay, so,
But I mean, if there's a need, another month is certainly doable, it's not a problem.
okay.
I'm fine with offering one of the two gentlemen a position, if that's what you're looking for feedback on.
Yeah,
I mean, I've met one and felt
Yeah.
like he was interested by showing up, but that also doesn't, maybe the other one couldn't, I don't know anything about him.
yeah. Would everyone like both of those gentlemen to fill out an application to get a little bit more
I would be
background on
more
it?
comfortable with that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Only reason being is I don't have anything to run on as far as
Yeah.
what their intentions are, what their goals are for the library, because I didn't see anything during the campaign.
Yeah. I mean, we met,
So I
we
wouldn't
met
want-
Mr. Cook a couple times, you know, he did come to the meeting, I don't have reference of.
But I don't remember him speaking.
Yeah.
So,
He's not,
I wouldn't want to be locked into the choices if neither of the two line up with the board.
Okay, so why don't we go this route, why don't we, are you able to, are you able to contact them at any point? Okay. This does not have to be completed before May, we can focus on, so Carlisle will be leaving us, Lima resigning, and then, so that part, and then filling out an application does not have to be completed before May, but at least maybe the first kind of initial touch base and then move forward from there.
I mean, the application's already written, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of setting it.
Mhm.
Yes, and you, will,
I think we.
both of you,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, yeah,
Both
yeah,
of you guys
that's
did.
what I'm saying.
actually, I think quite a few have gone through
Yeah, I
this
think,
process,
yeah.
so, all of us but you two.
Straight, that's straight.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, at one point all of you did, so, okay.
And by that, I guess, I mean, I'm saying, should we wait? Like, you can
The
contact
only
them,
thing
it's
is
easy.
that I would say, obviously I haven't heard what Kim has to say, but you might want to wait till the new trustees are officially sworn in,
Yes.
and then take that official
Yes,
vote, how you want to go forward.
that's what yes, sorry, if I
Yep.
didn't articulate that correctly, yes.
Okay, just so
Thank you
I
for
was
filling
clear.
in the rest
Yep.
of my words, so thank you, okay.
I do that a lot, where I have this conversation in my head, and I'm like, what do you mean you didn't know what I was talking about? It made perfect sense.
Right, yeah.
You guys are a good team.
All right, great, thank you everyone, communications, no, but you did send us that email, which was really, I forgot the name of it, but that was.
Oh, yeah, that will actually be in April, because I think she sent it on April
Oh, did
first, but
she?
that's
Okay.
totally fine,
But
but
I
it's,
really-
it's like when we pull everything together, it's by, mid-month
Yeah,
or
no,
whatever,
include
but-
that too, because
yeah,
that was
yeah.
great,
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, public comments on our agenda, items came here on.
Okay, well, I know there are 6-year terms, that seem especially long in our very fast-moving world. And it does seem like there is quite a bit of turnover with people not completing the 6-year term and leading to people applying and being appointed. I don't know if that's a feature or a bug, if that's by design or it's just something that happens. There are benefits to people being appointed, but I do believe that it should be a more transparent process, that the community should have the opportunity to apply, just as they have the opportunity to run. I know there are people, or at least one person, who didn't run because Mohammed and I were running and felt that we were good candidates, and she felt more comfortable stepping back and letting us pursue that. And so I don't think just saying, oh, these people applied, they're interested. There are other people who might not have applied for other reasons, but might be interested in the job still. So it seems, I would like it to be a more open and transparent, public-facing process would be my preference, because you don't know who else might want to
Could
be
be a
doing
good
it.
fit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, it could be a
Yeah.
fit,
No, I think
and maybe
that's-
just the thought of campaigning was overwhelming, and as Mohammed pointed out, we did a bit of campaigning in the community, and there were people who asked us who else was running,
Yeah.
and we knew names, and that was all. There was one community group that held a forum, and we were the only candidates that showed up to that. And I don't know if it was just a conflict of dates or, what
It's
it was,
interesting
you know.
because, I mean, I didn't know about that event until afterwards. So they didn't reach out to me or anything and say, hey, who's running or anything like
Yeah.
that. So it's kind of unfortunate for that, because then I could have shared that information with them. But, so I'm not sure where I'm
Yeah.
not sure they got it from the village clerk or whatever, but.
Yeah.
But I was not contacted about that, so like I said, I was glad that at least you and Mohammed were at that, but that was the first I had heard about
Right.
it, it was afterwards, yeah.
And there wasn't a whole lot of notice, honestly,
Really?
so so I'm not saying, oh, they were
Right,
scared to
right,
be a
yeah,
part of this,
yeah.
I'm just saying, we showed up and, the other two didn't, and I don't know what, maybe it means nothing, like I said, they were busy and weren't able to turn around on a dime
Right,
to
depending
be a
on-
part of it, but,
Yeah.
To Kim's point, even you were saying that usually the elections are uncontested, but then when me and Mark applied, there were 20 people for
Yeah,
two
which
spots.
was, yeah, yeah.
So it was, I don't know why, I guess maybe people are less intimidated by the application process versus.
And-
Oh, 100%.
I think-
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I
there
think-
was the timing,
I
think.
definitely,
Some of them
I think, yes, I agree, I think it was a few factors, I think
Yeah.
it was the timing, I think there were some people who, most of the applications, which was great for us to see, were overwhelmingly in support of libraries. They saw what was going on and they felt compelled to put their name forward for an application. So that, I think it is less intimidating to write out an application rather than, campaign, and, it does seem daunting for sure. To your point about, having seats open up, I mean, it's just as crazy as life gets, it gets
Yeah.
crazy for people here too, so it has been, every possible reason that we end up having a vacancy,
Yeah.
on the board, so, yeah, I mean, 6 years, it seems like a long time, I think, when you first, when you first had,
I agree.
the person that we would be appointing would be filling in the rest of Lima's,
okay.
Which actually is the way it kind
Term.
of worked out for me too, because
Yes.
I started filling in for somebody,
Yeah.
then had to run,
yeah.
and so,
Yeah, the way the law is
I've
written,
been
it
here
can be
like
confusing
7
to
years.
interpret it, but this was in your packet that I emailed you, Kim, wasn't it? Okay.
Yeah, so whoever we would appoint for Lima's seat, would fill out the rest of Lima's term, which would go to April 2027. So in that consolidated election, April 2027,
Yeah.
they would have to run
Sure.
again. Yeah, but thank you for that perspective, though.
Library boards are able to vote if they want to limit trustee terms to 4 years. That is in statute that you can do that, but you have to vote on it and everything. I think part of the 6-year term has to do with, right, I mean, presumably you don't want to have everyone either go off the board at the same time or whatever, but it allows you to kind of do that 2, 2, and 2, or 2, 2, and 3
Yeah.
thing, and so you've got some continuity while you're going through that process. I mean, assuming everyone stays on for their entire term kind of thing, so I think that might have been where that originally came from, not knowing what the intent was when the law was originally written, but that would seem to make the most sense. But there is a statutory allowance, if you vote for it, to change the 6-year terms to 4. So I know, like, when I was at Carroll Stream, our board was elected for 4-year terms because they had chosen to do that.
Yeah.
But that's the only library I've been at that has 4-year terms. Everyone else had 6-year terms like that. But it is out there as an option if that's something that the board ever chose or ever decided that they wanted to do, or at least look into.
Okay. One more quick follow-up question. Do we want to consider, we could still extend an invitation to these two gentlemen to fill out an application and post something publicly to our patrons and to also,
I will say that until Lima resigns, we won't have an open position.
right,
So, I mean, let's say Lima says, you know what, I completely changed my mind and I really don't want to resign.
No,
No, that's not.
I'm just saying, if someone should ask, they'd be like, well, you've got 7 people on
I
the
see,
board,
I
what
see,
are you
okay,
doing,
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh, okay.
I'm just, but that would only be if Lyman had any uncertainty or whatever, but it doesn't
Yeah.
sound like there is, so.
Yeah.
So I'm just throwing, but we can send out the, I mean, if you're certain that that's when you're gonna be, stepping down, then we can certainly send that out, if that's what the board wants to do, it sounds like, or if you wanna wait and we can do it in May,
Go for it.
but, I mean, we know how the process,
Yes.
particularly if the board does not wanna call any special meetings, which you always have the option of doing to deal with just this, and we could move more quickly than my timeline. I was assuming that we would just do this at our regular board
I would,
meetings.
yeah.
So, if that's, and if that's the case, then we're probably
Let's-
looking at
okay.
August or so by the time that we would, seat someone else.
Yeah. Let's kind of, alright, this is what, that's the little part that I want everyone to think on. And then you can shoot me a quick email before the May board meeting. But, yeah, I think I feel better with having, if we do hypothetically send out like a communication, like fill out an application after we have the resignation.
But we can certainly reach out separately
Yeah.
also and say, we want to encourage you to
Yes,
apply
yes, yes.
since you ran,
Right,
right?
right. Yeah.
And we can
Okay.
do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so,
Before we officially adjourn, so I am wearing, so these are not, we're not changing our logo, but these are just a slight redesign just to kind of change things up a little bit. So the staff t-shirts for these are blue. We are selling gray ones, and both current and our new board members are welcome to figure out which size is theirs and take one of the gray ones with you
Great.
before tonight. And there's also, so as part of National Library Week, we made friendship bracelets for the library.
Thank you.
Why you had that on? I said, sorry, if her granddaughter's
So-
doing that already,
No,
I'm
no,
done.
not yet. So these say, so you also can take a friendship bracelet that says MGPL loves you. So yeah, so they're in the box as well.
And you know
And
what
then-
happened? One of my daughters will take that from me.
Yeah. So, and then we also, as one of the kind of fun activities on National Library Workers Day, which was Tuesday, I think, we had a little party, and so everyone got to make their own friendship bracelets. So Karina actually made mine because I am not. Well, I had started and I had my little letters because I wanted to do the letters, the first initials of my kids and my granddaughter. So I started laying it out, and then Karina's like, "What are you doing?" And she was doing something, and I said, "Well, I really like yours." She goes, "I can make it for you." I'm like, "Okay."
Aw, that's really pretty. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so there's fun friendship bracelets that for Morton Grove Library. So before you leave today, we've got all the various sizes in here. So just pick the ones that work for you guys.
Thank
you.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We all love our library t-shirts.
We do.
I still have that one too.
Oh, it's,
The most fun part. That's when we used to.
it's this in Menards.
My son, this was about a year ago or so, maybe a little bit longer, but it was about a year ago because I think they were in the airport with my granddaughter, so she's only 18 months or so. But he texts me, he's like, "Mom," he goes, and they were getting ready, they were going to Florida, and so and he goes, "There's someone here with the Morton Grove Public Library T-shirt on."
I love it. Yeah.
Do you know my mom?
Yeah. I said, I guess you could go ask him that. I was trying to think, I'm like, is there staff on vacation? But I figured it was just a patron. Yeah.
All right, folks. So it is 7:38.